Hello plant friends, my name is Victoria. Thank you so much for watching Plantastics. Today we're going to be talking about carnivorous plant care. So this is a sarracenia and it's actually two separate plants. These grow by rhizomes and contrary to popular belief, you can grow these indoors. So this one, originally the larger one, they were both the same size as this one. I'm not really sure if you're going to be able to differentiate, but this smaller cluster here is actually its own plant. So they were both the same size, and this one, the smaller one, it just had I guess poor soil, and these thrive in that, I know. However, it was turning the plant pink. So I looked online and they said the pH of the soil can do that, which is kind of fascinating. I know that pH changes the color of hydrangeas, but I would have never thought that it did that to other plants, but I guess it makes sense. So this one I honestly don't feed, and I just give it really great light. I have a set of Barrina grow lights, and then I also have a grow bulb, and they are on a shelf basically that gets morning sun, and this one specifically is on my windowsill and it gets morning to midday sun. And in the afternoons, our neighbors have a white house, and they basically, as the sun is setting, get that light reflected. So in addition to the grow lights, they also get actual sunlight, and they are really warm in that window. I do have a thermometer and it does get up to like 80, 82. They are single pane windows, so that does make sense. So there's that baby. And then my favorite. So whenever I had carnivorous plants growing up, they were always the Venus flytraps from Walmart. And I always dreamed of other ones, but I mean, we really didn't have exotic plant stores or anything like that. So if you couldn't find it at Walmart, you pretty much couldn't find it at all. So this is the elata Nepenthes, and I love this one so very much. It was not this large when I got it. It was smaller than this one actually, and this is the Bill Bailey. It has the darkest pictures. So I am probably going to fangirl over these a little bit more than the others, simply because I like them so much. I've got two different varieties. So these are actually a vining plant. I did not know that when I first got them. I thought that they would just stay kind of short. And I guess depending on the variety, they can. I saw someone post a picture and they basically had a trellis, and it was just Nepenthes, like just trailing all along it, like it was like petunias or columbines or squash plants or something. So they do have potential to get pretty large. So if you can see here, they start kind of small. So every new leaf basically has the potential to form a pitcher, and I haven't had any problems forming pitchers. I've heard and read that some people will have a plant like this with no pitchers whatsoever, and basically it's some combination of humidity and sunlight, and if the plant has everything it needs, it will produce pitchers for you. But if it's lacking, like if it's not getting one of those things, it's just not going to put out pitchers because the plant's trying to conserve energy. So here's a smaller one, and the top was turning black, so I just cut it off. I don't know if you're supposed to do that, but that's what I do. And basically you can see that this one's smaller, and every single pitcher that it's had has just gotten larger. And whenever they form, I think I have one over on this one that's just about to open. So they fill with liquid before they open. So if it's closed for a while, don't worry, it'll open on its own. But just look at the size of that. Like it's just huge. So whenever I first had it, the pictures were honestly green, and as I've had it, they've turned pretty dark actually. And it's in the same little window over there. and I'll talk about these containers I have them in as well. So this is Nepenthes Bill Bailey, and you can see this one hasn't opened yet, and you can't really see inside, but there's a little line at the bottom where you can see the liquid just isn't quite as high yet. And then here is one that is open. This one's really kind of tiny. So this one really, I repotted all of them at the same time because I wanted them all to be in the same media. So that way it was easier for me to kind of just gauge what worked and what didn't work. This one was in perlite and peat moss, and it just was not growing. So since I've had it in this, it's just a mix, carnivorous plant soil mix. Basically, it has just really grown. So you can kind of see here, potentially, that gleaming, kind of shimmery right there. So there is like a liquid around the perimeter of the pitchers. So whenever they first open, they really don't have much, but as they mature, you can see it's like shiny there. But as they mature, they get this liquid. So the insects are drawn to that, and then they'll fall into the pitchers. So my next two plants are the Venus flytrap, which also grows with a rhizome, and it has just really gotten quite large. It is actually 3 separate plants at this point, and I could separate it, but I just don't feel comfortable. I did separate 2 of them just to see what would happen. One of them didn't make it, and then there's one right there. You're really not going to be able to see it without me pouring water everywhere. And then this one right here, woo, he's got all kinds of blooms. He's really happy where he is a sundew. So they have little, tiny little, like fingers with little sticky stuff on there. And when a plant lands, or whenever a bug lands on it, the plant will just close in around it and just eat it. And it's kind of cool. So these things here, they just keep, you know, these are flower stalks. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 of them. And I just braided them together. I don't know if they will ever bloom for me. They've been like this for quite some time. People say to cut them. I just want to see what happens if I don't. So, and the plant is growing pretty well without me cutting them. So there's that. So I got into carnivorous plants because I had a huge fungus gnat problem. So I purchased these with the thought that, oh, they're going to help me, you know, get rid of my fungus gnats. So if I were to rate these in terms of basically the one getting rid of the most, it's this guy, because they basically just fall down in there, and I'd have to get a special lens because I can't really pry this open to get a camera in there, or maybe I can do some pictures. Basically, it's like they just land in there, and they just cover it, like the surface of the water, and then they just drop to the bottom, and then more of them land in there. Since then, I've also gotten these like sticky traps, and I started putting like gravel on some of my plants that it seems like, even though I use the same soil, apart from my carnivorous plants, they have a different soil than everybody else. Basically, I use this one indoor gardening soil, and it is just, even though it's the same soil, some plants seem to have more fungus gnats than others, and I don't know why that is. But like my Dracaena that is behind me on the footed planter there, it just has so many of the gnats. So anyways, I purchased these with the intent that, you know, this is better than other alternatives. So that was pretty cool. So I'd recommend this guy. The sundew is also pretty good. I can't really look into these, so I don't know how great they are or not. But this is just, so pretty. So I'm kind of all over the place, as always. They are like little straws. See, this one's flat. And then they start to open. and basically get these little ruffles, and it's just, I just think it's the greatest. So those are the plants. Those are kind of just my tidbits that I have on each one of them. The soil cannot have any kind of fertilizer at all because it will burn their roots. They're used to being in just terrible soil, poor soil. So to supplement that lack of nutrition, they catch critters to make up for that. So that's as far as the soil goes. I'm pretty sure this is like a peat-based soil, and it does have some perlite in it, but as you can see, it's really not that much. So these two I have all of them in these containers, but these two receive more water than the others. So I collect rainwater, and whenever there's like a drought or something, I do have a fish tank, and whenever I'm doing water changes, I basically use that water and I put it in, you can get them at Walmart. They're like these 2.5 gallon things that you would basically, I guess, put punch in or something. They're solid plastic, they're not very decorative, and basically they are perfect for whenever I do a half water change, because I have a 5 gallon tank. When I do a half water change, 2.5 basically goes in there, and then I use it for my carnivorous plants and some of my other plants that are rainwater or distilled fish water only. So there is a wick in the bottom of this, and for these two, for the this pitcher plant and then the Venus and the sundew, I have the water pretty high. I have it pretty high in there because they like bog-like conditions. So these are not drought tolerant plants. They need to be wet. Something else you can do if you just have them in little pots and you don't want to have, kind of more decorative pots, is you can have them in a tray of water. That's what I did before they got so large I had to repot them. So Nepenthes is a little bit different. They don't like as much water as these. They're not like bog plants. So I just have it, I don't know if you can see, but I just have it down to the very bottom. And since this plant is so much larger than the other one, I actually fill this one even lower down. You can't really see it. You can see some condensation there potentially, but I don't fill these as far up as I do these, basically these two right here. So that's what I do with soil. That's what I do with watering. And I have them in these containers that are basically self-watering because it's easier to manage. Like if you are going to try to like water them every day, I just wouldn't recommend that because you could just forget and lose your plants. So this one's really great because it basically does it for you and it just looks nicer. So that's why I like that a lot. And they all stay on that same shelf where they get morning sun, and they have the Barrina grow lights, grow light bars on top. And this one is closer to the window. These two basically are in the window, and then my two Nepenthes are not. They're basically on the shelf where I can see them, and they seem to really like it there, and they're really happy. So something else that's just notable if you are going to order carnivorous plants online. So I basically purchased all of these in one bundle with the exception of Bill Bailey. He was a purchase later on, but they all came, in little 1-inch pots and whatnot. And they all came in really great shape, which I was really happy for. So with the Nepenthes, its pitchers all turned black and fell off. And, whenever you get a brand new plant, there's just going to be some leaves that fall off. Some things they're just going to suffer a little bit while they're acclimating to your non-greenhouse home. So I was so sad, all the pitchers basically turned black, and I just cut them off because I couldn't stand looking at them anymore. They just looked so bad. So that's what I did. So then I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to order, another one. And hopefully, maybe it was just a freak thing. So I ordered this one, and it had pictures on every single leaf. I was so ecstatic. It was so beautiful. So I put it where everybody else is. Everybody else is happy over there. And I thought, well, maybe it's because I didn't have the grow lights, initially. Well, sure as anything, all the pictures fell off of this one. And I had this really green leafy thing with no pictures. And since then, it's done a rebound, and it's got 2, fixing to be 3 right here, pictures. And, this one did too. So I don't know if you're familiar with orchids, but the Phalaenopsis orchids that you see in every grocery store, basically, if you take them from inside and you put them in your hot car or freezing cold car, whatever the temperature, the more drastic the temperature is, the more likely you're going to have like bud blast, which is basically where all the buds fall off. And that's what I guess is similar to what happens to these, because if you think about it, they're going from a beautiful, happy greenhouse with great humidity to being, FedEx, UPS, like USPS, like in a dark place that may be, very drastic in temperature changes, and then they come to your home. So there's all kinds of different things that they go through before they get to you. So that's kind of what I think is happening, or what happened with these. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have in terms of carnivorous plant care. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Goodbye.